Thank you for joining me today for a pre-recorded webinar on Great Place to Work's recognition program. Step 3, completing your culture brief and culture audit. This is the fourth of a 4-part webinar series. Please also see our pre-recorded webinars, the business case for building a high-trust culture, Step 1, registering and getting started, and Step 2, launching your Trust Index survey. All these webinars are available on our website. Today's webinar will provide you with all the information you need to write a great culture audit, including new requirements for the culture brief and culture audit, guidelines for creating a great submission, scoring criteria, submission process, and timelines. Today's webinar will last about 10 minutes. The culture brief and/or culture audit is the third and final step required for participation in our recognition programs, Great Workplace Certification, and the Best Workplaces in Canada list. As a reminder, we look at your organization through two different lenses. We use our Trust Index survey to assess employee perceptions of the workplace, and we use our culture audit and culture brief questionnaires to assess your workplace programs, policies, and practices. Together, these give us a clear picture of your workplace culture. If 7 out of 10 of your employees respond positively to the Trust Index statements and you have submitted the culture brief, congratulations, you'll be certified as a great workplace and can begin displaying our logo on your website and branding materials immediately. From our pool of certified companies, each year we rank the best by taking 2/3 of your score from the Trust Index and 1/3 of your score from the culture audit. If you rank among the best, congratulations, you are a best workplace in Canada and will be named on our list next April. To make this process more efficient and attainable for all organizations, the culture brief and culture audit can now be completed in 2 stages. The shorter culture brief is required for all organizations participating in our recognition programs and takes just a few hours to complete. The more detailed culture audit is required for list contenders only and takes a week or more to complete. Both can be completed offline at your convenience, then submitted online through our participants portal. On the culture brief, we are looking mainly for company demographics and program statistics. New this year, we also have added a great perks and programs section. This is your chance to highlight what makes your organization stand out from the rest by listing 5 to 10 programs you're especially proud of. The culture brief is mandatory but not scored. So if there are some specific questions you cannot answer because you don't track the data, please indicate this in the space provided. There'll be no penalty for this. On the culture audit, we're looking for a description of the programs, policies, and practices that support your workplace culture. We're interested more in the content of your responses rather than the length or style, so we encourage you to include as much detail as is necessary for us to understand your programs or policies and the cultural threads that tie your organization together. Be specific when describing your programs and practices, including program statistics or industry data if you have this available. Feel free to use a bullet or point form in your responses. And if a program or practice is relevant to more than one area, describe the program in detail once, then refer back to it. Support your responses with examples, anecdotes, and employee testimonials. The culture audit is worth 1/3 of your final list score, so please make sure to answer all questions. You're encouraged to include supplementary materials to enhance your culture audit submission and give readers a sense of what it's like to work at your organization. This includes items such as photos, videos, communication samples, posters, employee handbooks, and other materials which support the information you're sharing with us. Supplementary material must be referenced in your response so we know where it fits in. This can be done by inserting a link to the supplementary material in the cell beside your response. This is the preferred method. If you're including a link, be sure the link is active for at least 1 year. Or you can write the names of the supplementary attachments and then upload them with your submission. If you participated in this process before, feel free to use your submission from previous years, but remember to highlight any new programs and delete programs no longer in use. Most of the questions remain the same. You will notice a few changes from last year. First, you'll notice that the format of the culture brief, formerly our Culture Audit Part 1, and the Culture Audit, formerly our Culture Audit Part 2, has changed slightly. Both the culture brief and the culture audit are now completed on a single Excel template. This change means our evaluation team can focus more on the quality of your programs and practices and less on the packaging of your responses, as well as compare responses with other companies of similar industry and size. We've also added one new question to the culture brief: the great perks and programs. This gives all organizations the opportunity to highlight 5 to 10 programs that truly makes their culture stand out. We have also changed the deadlines and requirements for completion to make this process more efficient for everyone. The culture brief and culture audit can now be completed in 2 stages. All companies complete a culture brief. This is a requirement for certification, and it is due 10 days after your survey starts. Only companies who are contenders for our list are required to complete the full culture audit. Once your survey closes, we'll notify you whether or not you're a contender for our best workplaces list. If you are, you must submit the full culture audit no later than October 31st if you wish to be considered for our list competition. Once you've submitted all your documentation, our Culture Audit Evaluation team will evaluate your submission. At Great Place to Work, we aim to be transparent with our scoring criteria so all participating companies have equal opportunity for success. The Culture Brief is mandatory but not scored for all organizations participating in our recognition program. The Culture Audit is scored based on the following criteria. Variety. We're looking for a breadth of programs, policies, and methods which is appropriate for the size and demographic makeup of your organization. Originality. We're looking for programs, policies, and practices that are unique and creative while bearing the mark of the company. All-inclusiveness. We're looking for programs, policies, and practices that are for everyone in your organization. Human touch. We're looking for a sense of appreciation, generosity, and warmth in program delivery. And integration. We're looking for your programs and policies to be linked by a central theme or overarching framework in which they are delivered. The final element we consider is Gestalt, which is based on the gut feel of the evaluator. Not really about how great your submission was, but on how great your culture is. Each of the 9 practice areas and Gestalt are weighted equally to make up your final culture audit score, which makes up 1/3 of your final list score. So here are a few final tips to make this process run smoothly for you. First, start early. Don't leave this till the last minute. The culture brief will take approximately 4 hours to complete, and the culture audit will take about 40 or more. Review all questions before you begin. You may be able to assign some parts of the questionnaire to others on your team to lighten the load. Plan your time, allowing at least a day for final edits and proofreading. We have been transparent with our scoring matrix, so review your responses with this in mind. While supplementary materials are optional, we do encourage you to include them. Things like photos and videos help to bring your culture to life. And finally, make sure you answer all questions on the culture audit, including those with A, B, and C components. Once complete, your culture brief and or culture audit must be submitted online through our participants portal. First, review all instructions for the list process. Then, download the culture brief and culture audit template. When you have completed your culture audit, upload it in the approved format. And as a reminder, both the culture brief and culture audit must be submitted in Excel format. Supplementary material can be submitted in any format. Remember, our Trust Index survey can be conducted at any time of the year, but there's some important dates to keep in mind as you plan your survey to ensure you'll be eligible for the current Best Workplaces list. Simply select a 2-week window to conduct your survey and give us at least 3 weeks notice of when you'd like to begin. All companies must submit their culture brief 10 days after their survey starts. Within 2 weeks of completing your survey, you'll be notified whether you're certified as a great workplace and whether you're a contender for our Best Workplaces list. List contenders must submit a culture audit by October 31st if they wish to be considered for the Best Workplaces list. Companies that have been on our list previously can assume they're a contender and begin working on the full culture audit right away. If you're a new company, you may want to consider surveying before the end of September, so you will have an opportunity to learn if you're a contender before investing time in completing the culture audit. No extensions to the October 31st culture audit deadline will be granted, regardless of when a company surveys. Still have questions about the culture brief or culture audit? Our culture consultants would be happy to speak with you. Please call or email today. Want to learn more about Great Place to Work's recognition program? Watch our series of pre-recorded webinars, which can be found on our website. Thank you.